Hi, everybody. I wanted to do our quick video update this week. So we are now in week 9. We only have week 9 and week 10 left of the servant leader unit, and then we'll be moving into our next unit over transformational leadership. So I will start working this week to get that unit all prepared and ready and then activate it for any of you who happen to be working ahead. But before I do that, let's talk about week 9 and what you have due for this week. So what's happening this week? This week, we're looking at what servant leader looks like in organizations. So we're going to read a whole book this week. Don't worry, you're not really reading the whole thing. I wouldn't do that to you. I'm not quite that bad. What we did is we distributed the workload across the group. So there's a total of 12 chapters and we have 10 groups. So every group is going to be responsible for one chapter. And then I'm asking everybody also to read the last chapter, chapter 12, and chapter 11, you do not need to read unless you choose to. So chapter 11, you don't have to read unless you wish, but I would like everybody to read their assigned chapter and chapter 12. So what you're going to do is actually you're going to become the teacher this week. And what you're going to do for your weekly quiz is, since you're all reading different chapters, it would have been very difficult for me to make quizzes for that. So I'm asking you all to create a quiz. So by Friday, what you're going to do is you're going to read your chapter, and then you're going to come up with quiz questions that you could put on a potential quiz. The questions need to pertain to the chapter you're assigned to read, and they either need to be a multiple choice question or a true-false question. So you need to write the question. You'll just do this in a Word document, and then you'll make it either true or false or multiple choice. And then I need you either to bold or highlight the correct answer. I'm not going to be giving the quizzes necessarily to other people. It will help me maybe in the future in making quizzes, so I'll have a quiz bank, if you will. But this is a way that I'm going to look at the fact that you are reading the content and that you're thinking about it critically enough to be able to create really good questions. If I can tell that your questions were thrown together, if they don't pertain to your chapter, you obviously will not receive full credit for week 9's quiz. I'm also going to have each group will be doing an infographic over your chapter. And so I'll talk about that in a little bit of detail here as we move on. Some important reminders. Last week, you all did peer evaluations of yourselves and your group members, which was anonymous. Only myself and the teaching team is looking at that. But you are going to get your feedback probably early next week. So we'll give us some time. There's 50 students to go through. So we need to condense all that feedback and then be able to give it out to you in a timely manner. So when you get your feedback from your peers, these are some things I want you to do. If you get some constructive criticism, please don't take it personally. The idea is that we're giving ourselves this feedback to make ourselves better and stronger group members. So read it once through, give it time to sink in. Feedback can feel deeply personal, and sometimes we have to distance ourselves in order to gain perspective. I know this personally as someone who submits their work to conferences and to journals. I have to have my peers read it and tell me if it's good enough. And sometimes I get feedback that I take a little bit personal and thinking, why wasn't this good enough? Or did you not understand what I was doing here? So I have to distance myself from it, come back and realize somebody else's outside perspective is a lot different than mine, and it makes me a better writer, or it can make my work better if I take their feedback to heart. After 24 hours have passed, thoughtfully consider what you might do to address some of the feedback from your members. Spend the remainder of the semester really strategically working on improving your contributions to your group as both a team member and as an assignment leader. And if you'd like to talk with me about your feedback, or if you need some potential strategies, I'd be more than happy to meet with you. I know a large majority of you took me up on the extra credit, and you're meeting with myself or Ellie Anderson this week to kind of do a mid-semester check-in. If by instance, so you did not sign up for a Zoom meeting and you get some feedback next week that you really do want to process, please send me an email and we will set up a time to meet, whether that's just emailing back and forth, a phone call, Zoom, or face-to-face over coffee. I'm open for all the above. So this is this week's readings, if you will. This week, each group is assigned to a chapter. And I'm sorry I don't have your group names on here. I hope you know which group number you are. You can find the group numbers in Canvas if you go into people and then look at the project groups. All of you are there. So if you're like, I cannot remember if I'm group 4 because that's not what we call ourselves, you can go into Canvas and look at people and then find out, what group number you are, because I have your group number and then also your name. So everybody's just reading one chapter, and then as I said, chapter 12 is assigned to all groups. And so what's due this week? On Friday, as always, you have your quiz. Remember that the quiz is different this week. You're going to be writing the quiz questions pertaining to the chapter that you are assigned to. So if you're group 3, you need to make quiz questions that actually go around quiz or go over chapter 3. And this is an individual assignment. So all of you will be creating your own quizzes. So they'll look different questions, etc. Remember, they should either be true, false, or multiple choice. And then you need to highlight somehow which one is the correct answer. So I know that you know what the correct answer is. On Friday, you have your infographic due over your chapter. All groups infographics are due by Friday. You'll post them to a discussion board link so they're easily accessible. Then what you're going to do is by Sunday, anytime after Friday, after 11:59 p.m., individually, you need to go into the discussion board and look at all of the infographics. You're not reading all the book, but you still need to go back through and look at all the other chapters so you get the content and the information from the book. So you're going to go back through, you're going to look at all the other infographics so you can get some of the key information that was in that chapter, and then you're going to use a Google form and you're going to evaluate all 9 other groups. So we have 10 groups total, which means you have to go in, look at all 9 infographics, and then you're actually going to fill out a Google form and assess points to them, which will help me in grading because I plan to take an average of the grades given to the different groups. However, if I don't think something is just, or if I know in following the rubric, this person shouldn't be losing points, then obviously I'll assess that on an individual basis. But overall, you're going to be grading each other, and then I'm going to take a compilation or an average of those grades. And just lastly, some inspirational words for you this week. Remember that teamwork begins by building trust, and the only way to do that is to overcome our need for the invulnerability. And so this is just a reminder about building trust in the groups that you've established thus far. And if you feel you're struggling in your groups, to take some time to think about that vulnerability and the trust that needs to be built, and thinking about that critical feedback you're going to be getting early next week, and learning how to move forward so you can be the most successful in this course. So like last time, I thought it might be helpful for me to actually walk you through the module. I'm not sure if this is helpful or not, but I'm going to do it again because I did it last week just to kind of explain quickly. And of course, now it's being slow. So here again are the assignments for what you have to read for the week. And then I'm going to click on the assignment tab. So here is your quiz. Again, you're going to create the quiz. I want you to use a Microsoft Word document and create a quiz with 5 possible quiz questions over the chapter that you are assigned to. The quiz questions must be either true, false, or multiple choice. You want a student to be able to answer the 5 questions in about 5 minutes. And after each question, like I said, the correct answer should be listed either in parentheses or bold it, highlight it, something so I know which is the correct answer. And this is due by Friday at 11:59 p.m. So as an individual, you will create a quiz and you'll upload it just using the Word document. And then here is the infographic assignment. And so I just quick want to kind of tell you what that infographic assignment looks like. So what an infographic is it's a visual way to give key concepts and key information from reading. So rather than reading a whole book, it's almost like you're taking key pieces of it and you're putting it in, if you will, maybe a poster or a visual format. So it's visually interesting, but also contains important concepts, messages, models, whatever the case might be. So I have some instructions for you here. A lot of people use PowerPoint to do this, so you can create your infographic using PowerPoint. However, there are infographic tools out there on different websites, so if you're interested in using an infographic tool, you're more than welcome to do so. I just know sometimes in the past, students have had trouble with getting them to save or upload correctly. So you use whatever is shareable and accessible for you. Canva, C-A-N-V-A, is a really great tool that I've used a lot. It helps you create posters and has lots of things you can choose from, so Canva might be an option for you. And here is a blog assignment that has some tips for creating really good infographics. And I'm just going to pull it up quick to give you an example of an infographic in case you're thinking, I have no clue what this is. So keep it simple, keep it focused. So, oh, there it was. So here's an example of an infographic. So as you can see, it's visually interesting. It has information on it. So no, you might not have maps and whatnot, but essentially what you're doing is you're creating some type of a visual image or poster, if you will, that has key information from the text. You might create some kind of an image, a model, an example. You're going to have words, but what I don't want is just a typical slide with like 5 or 6 bullet points of key concepts from the book. An infographic is supposed to be visually interesting. So here's an example of another infographic. Again, visually interesting, clean, simple, but has key information on it. So I think you guys will be great with this, and you'll be very creative. And then what you're going to do is you're simply going to click here on this link, Servant Leader Infographics Week 9. This will lead you to the discussion board that's already been created. Each group should designate one person to upload their infographic to the discussion board. Probably saving it as a PDF will be the best, because then nothing will be, the content then shouldn't be distorted. So here is the discussion board link. All you have to do is click reply. When you click reply, you just simply need to attach your PDF infographic here. I would like you to label it with your chapter and your name. So it might say Fantastic 5, Chapter 6. All right, that way we know. And then there should only be 10 posts here. So don't have multiple people posting the infographic. I only want one person in each group to post one infographic. Then when you're done, you're going to do the peer evaluations of the other 9 infographics by Sunday. And again, you're going to be using a Google form to do that. So this Google form has you evaluate all of them. If it's your group, you simply say, I cannot vote because this is my group. And then you scroll down. I've literally made a place for every group. So how many points do you think the leaders should get for their infographic on Chapter 3? So what I would recommend doing is having 2 windows up. Look at their infographic, then click into the Google form, decide how many points this team should get, and then give this team feedback. If you simply go through and give everybody 0s or everybody's 10s, I'm going to know that you did not take time to fully look at the infographics and evaluate them, so you won't get full credit. So please make sure that you're looking at the infographics, and if you give someone 6 or 7 or 8, that you justify with a couple of comments so I understand why. All right, that is all I have for you for week 9. I look forward to meeting with some of you face-to-face for extra credit. Other than that, don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions pertaining to this week. Have a great day.